The day we signed the papers, something inside me shifted like a tight knot in me, chest finally loosening after years off pretending small apartments with thin walls and creaky pipes were home. And when the realtor slid that last stack of documents across the conference table and whispered, "Congratulations, the house is officially yours." I swear, I felt 17 years of renting fall off misholders like a backpack I didn't know I was still carrying. And my wife, Sarah, squeezed my hand so hard. I thought she'd cut off the blood flow, her eyes glassy and wet like she'd just been handed the winning lottery ticket she never bought. And our kids, Ethan and Lily, crawled under the table, giggling like they'd officially been promoted toes-crept basement layer architects. We had done it. Scraped every dollar from every corner of life. Sold my parents' house after they passed. Burned through savings. Burned through my promotion bonus. Burned through anxiety and doubt and nights staring at spreadsheets. And we got ourselves a real house with a wraparound porch like something out of a magazine. Tall oak trees like nature's cathedral guardians, and quiet mornings that smelled like dew and new beginnings. And most importantly, no HOA, no little private government with pastel-colored bylaws and beige police and fines for breathing too loud on Tuesdays. Sarah made damn sure of that. She hunted for months like she was chasing a ghost. Zoning maps, county records, plat lines. She checked and double-checked and then triple-checked because she'd seen too many people cry over mailbox height regulations and wrong shade of taupe on shutters. And she used to say HOA boards were like tiny dictatorships run by people who needed a hobby and chose power instead. And God, I laughed at the time, but now I know she was speaking prophecy. Friday, we moved in. Me and every friend died, ever blackmailed with beer and nostalgia since high school. Sweating like we were being punished for every dumb thing we ever did as teenagers. Hauling furniture that felt heavier now that we actually owned it. And Bison said, the place was half full off mismatched chairs, open pizza boxes, and those giant plastic storage bins everybody swears they'll empty one day, but never do. And I stood in the living room with sweaty hands and dusty boots, thinking, this is ours. No landlord, no rules, no one hovering over us. Saturday morning hit different. Sunlight pouring in through windows that still smelled like fresh paint. Coffee steaming in a kitchen that felt like it had been waiting years for us. Kids chasing each other across hardwood floors. And my buddy Mark backing his pickup into the driveway like he was donating his Spinito science one couch at a time. And I remember thinking, this is it. This is peace. And then peace died. A black luxury SUV, the kind that practically I have opinions about everyone's lawn, rolled down the street slow, turned into our driveway slower, and came to a stop like a shark, deciding if we were worth eating. And I was halfway down the stairs with a mattress over Miss Holder when the door opened, and out stepped a woman with heels sharp enough to slice confidence. Hair so perfectly shell-acted, it defied physics, pastel power suit like she was auditioning for the role of district attorney of Pettyville. Good morning, she chirped, except it sounded like she was issuing a summon. I blinked. Hi, can I help you? I'm Karen Stevens, president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association. I shifted the mattress. Cool. Good for you. She didn't laugh, didn't smirk, didn't even blink, just extended a clipboard like it was a royal decree. I'll need to see your ownership documents. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped the mattress. No, seriously, I said. I am serious. She replied, smiling like a wolf in church. You're legally required to provide proof of ownership to HOA leadership upon request. We're not in an HOA, I said, casual, proud, confident, unaware that the universe was about to say, hold my iced latte. She tilted her head, smile stretching wider, but somehow colder. That's what you think. I swear the birds stopped chirping. She slid a glossy folder toward me. Your lot touches HOA managed land. Therefore, you are part of Willow Creek under the influence zone policy. Mark, carrying a dresser behind me, whispered, influence zone. Is she running a suburb or invading Poland? And muttered, ma'am, we checked. This property is not part of the HOA. She blinked slowly, the way villains blink right before launching a monologue. Well, then where is your membership initiation receipt? My what? The mandatory $10,000 new resident initiation fee. I almost fell backwards through the railing. You want me to pay you $10,000 to join our community? She corrected like this was a country club instead of a driveway. I didn't join anything. I snapped. "Oh, sweetheart," she said in a voice that could curdle milk. "Intent isn't relevant. Your deed simply hasn't been processed yet with updated boundaries." I felt the heat rising in my chest. "We are not paying you anything. Please leave." Instead of leaving, she planted her heels at the driveway edge like she was taking root. Arms crossed, breathing HOA air, radiating HOA energy, absorbing HOA sunlight to power her HOA rage. "I will remain until you comply." And that was the moment I realized peace was a hallucination. I walked away, tried toying near her, tried to lift a dresser without thinking about the HOA mannequin glaring at me like she was guarding Buckingham Palace. But 20 minutes later, she was still there, silent, staring, judging my existence, and probably my curtain choices too. So I walked back out, "Ma'am, last time leave my property." She tilted her head again like she practiced that in a mirror. "We can pursue legal action. Fines, liens, court costs. People who resist the HOA rarely win." I felt something snap. "Lady, I will call the police." Her smile sharpened. "Go ahead, try." So I did. I dialed 911 on speaker right in front of her. She didn't even blink. Just watched me like Ewa's a toddler calling Santa. When the dispatcher answered, I calmly explained that a stranger was demanding money and refusing to leave private property. Karen's eyebrows rose like, "Is that all you got?" But when the officers finally arrived and she realized she wasn't bulletproof after all, she left, tire screeching like a raccoon fleeing a trash can, and it tipped over. We didn't know it then, but that was just round one. The war hadn't even started yet. And when it did, she wasn't coming alone. You ever have that moment where life goes quiet, too quiet, and instead of enjoying it, your stomach knots because you know silence isn't peace, it's ammunition? Yeah, that was us. The next couple weeks, we unpacked, painted, argued about where the couch should go. For the record, Sarah was right. But didn't tell her I said that. The kids claimed their rooms like tiny conquerors. The grill got broken in. We lived. And for a little while, I believed maybe the HOA phantom had drifted back to whatever dimension petty tyrants crawl out of. Until one morning, I saw a man across the street washing his driveway. Actually washing his driveway with more precision than I wash me face. And I figured, hey, let's be neighborly. So I grabbed 2 cold beers and walked over. He turned out to be Greg. Divorced, quiet, but chatty once warmed up. A guy obsessed with solar panels and financial independence videos. And when I mentioned the HO woman, his face did that thing where someone looks like they just smelled rotten milk and childhood trauma at the same time. "You met Garden," he said like I just confessed. I stared into the SUN. Thought, oh, that's normal here? I asked. Had chuckled the way tired people chuckle. Normal? No. Common? Unfortunately. He leaned in slightly. She tried that annexation stun on 2 other homes. One couple moved out after 6 months. Stress got them. House sold fast. Suspiciously fast. Flipped. Repainted beige like Therist. It approved. Word is she has a developer buddy. My blood went cold like someone poured a slushy into my spine. Oh, this is a racket. I whispered, Pushencha homes out. Flip them into HOA inventory. Greg nodded. Seen it before. She calls it community unification. I call it real estate bullying wrapped in legal stationery. I looked at his cameras, 4 of them, 1 on each corner like little digital snipers. Andy smirked. She came for me, too. I put those up, filed a formal complaint, never answered her again. She hates people who document things. I walked back home, brain buzzing, half angry, half scared, half trying to calculate how many halves my sanity had left. That night, while brushing my teeth, I glanced toward the front door and froze. Something was tucked in the frame. An envelope, white, no stamp, just our last name in perfect, terrifying cursive. I opened it and immediately felt heat bloom in my chest again, not from fear, from rage. Mandatory HOA integration fee, $15,000, due due in 48 hours. Additional daily penalties apply. $15,000. I laughed. Actually laughed. It sounded like a hyena who'd seen taxes for the first time. Sarah came out of the bedroom, rubbing her eyes. I handed her the letter. She didn't laugh. "She can't do this," she whispered. "No," I said, "but she thinks she can." We didn't sleep much or at all. Fear morphed into focus. Rage sharpened into clarity. The next morning, I went full Navy SEAL mission planning mode, minus the cool uniform. It pulled every document we had: deed, plat map, property lines. Ça started getting contact. We drove to the county office and filed a harassment and attempted extortion complaint. The clerk, an older woman with glasses on a cane, frowned at her screen. "Huh, looks like your original police report was closed without notes." "Closed?" I asked. She refused to leave my property. "It happens," she said, not unkindly, just tired of seeing bureaucracy misfile justice like it was junk mail. I left with paperwork and a resolve I didn't know I was capable of. Next stop, aerial estate attorney recommended by Sarah's office. Cindy Hahn, 5 feet 2 inches, sharp voice, sharper brain, and the facial expression of someone who has personality bodies slammed 3 HOAs and a zoning committee before lunch. I explained everything. She leaned back, arms crossed, studying me like a puzzle piece. She was deciding where to place a battlefield map. "You might be sitting on the edge of a bigger mess than you think," she finally said. "Karina's just power, hungry. She's financially motivated." She slid a file across the table. Horizon, West Development. They flipped neighborhoods into HOA restricted subdivisions. She's listed on their zoning communication logs. So she's trying to force us in for profit. "Yep," Cindy said. "And if she forged boundary amendments, that's fraud. And if she used mail to send false HOA's notices, congratulations. You might have a federal mail fraud case." That night, I bought a security camera system for cameras, motion alerts, cloud backups. If a raccoon sneezed near my mailbox, I'd get a notification. Then we grilled burgers, and the kids laughed under string lights. And for a minute, I tasted peace again, though it smelled faintly like charcoal and righteous fury. 3 days later, the whistleblower email arrived. Subject: Karen isn't acting alone. The message was short, typed like someone didn't want to risk autocorrect snitching. There's a box in her garage with fake signatures and pre-filled forms. Horizon pays her through Allenscaping Shell Company. Check your mailbox camera footage from Thursday. She isn't delivering letters. She's collecting signatures, some forged. My heart hammered as I pulled up the footage. There she was, Karen, walking house to house with a stack of envelopes, not placing them, collecting them. One door didn't answer, so she slid a pen into the mailbox, slot like she expected something signed inside. Every instinct in my body screamed, "Got you." I sent everything to Cindy, to the county investigator, to a reporter named Leo, who'd covered similar developer scams. Within 48 hours, the county issued a cease and desist on HO expansion activity. And that's when Karen lost it, because the next morning, I opened my front door to find 2 large men in black HOA polos and sunglasses standing on my porch like discount Secret Service agents. Mr. Rivers, the bigger one, said, voice growly, "We're here to collect delinquent HOA fees and discuss boundary violations." "You're trespassing?" I replied. He smiled like I had just told him the weather report. "If you continue non-operation, the board may pursue physical enforcement options." The smaller one cracked his knuckles, because subtlety was clearly elective in HOA bully school. I shut the door. Calm, controlled, dialed the sheriff. 10 minutes later, my driveway looked like a blend of suburban showdown and small-town sitcom, because Mark pulled up with folding chairs and donuts. Greg grabbed his lawn chair and iced tea, and 2 more guys from my old job showed up, like he'd been waiting for a reason to legally yell at strangers. The 2 HOE enforcers tried circling around the house. Greg shouted, "You step on that grass, you're trespassing," cameras rolling, smile for the lawsuit. Sheriff arrived, not city cops, county deputies, the kind who see through nonsense before breakfast. The HOA muscle got escorted off my lawn, looking like toddlers who spilled juice and blamed the couch. An hour later, the district attorney's office called. "We've reviewed the letters. the footage, and the whistleblower note. This may involve mail fraud, property coercion, and abuse of HOA authority. You may be called as a witness. I hung up slowly, breathing like I'd been holding air since the day we moved in. Sarah walked in, gauging my expression. Good news or bad? I looked around her home. Toys on the floor, sunlight in the kitchen, life happening. Good, I said. And it's just the beginning. She grinned, kissed my cheek. Good. Because if she thought she, Pikita, scared family, she messed up. Weren't running. We weren't bending. We were just getting warmed up. Courtrooms never look like the movies tell you Thado. You know that? Instead of dramatic lighting and decisive music, they smell faintly like stale paper and anxiety. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like tired insects. And everyone talks in hush, tones like the truth might get startled and run away if you speak too loudly. And that morning, sitting on one of those hard wooden benches with Sarah's hand gripping mine like it was the last rung on a ladder, I realized how much this fight had aged me in such a short time. How something that should have been simple, just moving into Ahome somehow, turned into a full-blown war against neighborhood authoritarian display. Karen sat across the aisle, pastel suit replaced by a charcoal blazer. She probably thought made her look respectable, but the jitter in her leg and the way she kept smoothing her hair told another story. And her attorney, a thin guy with a tired face-off, someone who got tricked into this case, kept whispering to her like he was negotiating with a toddler holding scissors near an electrical outlet. Cindy organized our evidence like she was setting up a chessboard she already knew she'd went on, tapping documents with her pen, double-checking the US drive we brought, security footage, timestamps, mail scans, county correspondence, whistleblower email, plus the footage of Karen's enforcers trying to intimidate us like they were extras who misunderstood the casting call for The Sopranos. The judge entered calm, stern, with the expression off someone who has heard every lie suburbia has ever invented. And we rose, sat, breathed, waited. Karen's lawyer opened with something about miscommunication, community standards, good faith efforts to maintain neighborhood harmony, and is where even the court's stenographer rolled her eyes a little. Then Cindy stood, straightened her notes like she was loading ammunition, and in a voice so evenly controlled it felt surgical, said, "Your Honor, what we have here isn't a misunderstanding. It is fraud, coercion, and abuse of authority masquerading as community protection." She dropped the stack of papers on the table. The sound echoed, and then it all unfolded. Our footage playing on screens. Karen walking up to mailboxes like a raccoon with a legal pad. The $15,000 letter. The HOA polos trying to look intimidating while simultaneously looking like they Googled how to Beethoven and landed on the Dollar Tree version. The zoning maps, the forged signature samples, the Shell Landscaping Company tied to Horizon West. Every minute felt like tightening screws, and every piece of evidence felt like another card pulled from a tower Karen had stacked with arrogance instead of logic. When the county investigator took the stand and calmly explained the active fraud probe, the forged boundary amendments, the suspicious property flips, I watched Karen's face go from smug to confused to pale to the kind of brittle panic someone gets when their imaginary kingdom suddenly turns into sand in their palms. And then came the moment, the real crack, when Cindy asked the investigator, "In your expert opinion, did the defendant knowingly attempt to misrepresent legal authority for financial gain?" "Yes," he said, no hesitation, like he'd been waiting to see that his whole career. Karen's lawyer tried a last-ditch attempt, something about her acting alone, being misled by corporate partners. But then Cindy slid a printed email across the table. And even from 10 feet away, I could see the judge's eyebrows rise when she read the line. "Once we consolidate the last few holdouts, Horizon will finalize the purchase offer." Karen looked like she swallowed her own tongue. The judge didn't yell, didn't grandstand, didn't even raise her voice. She just delivered the kind of verdict that feels surgical, precise, irreversible, temporary restraining order. Asset review. HOA authorities suspended pending audit. Cease any contact with us. Full investigation into Horizon West. And most importantly, referral for potential criminal charges and mail fraud review. She hit Thegavel. It sounded like judgment and oxygen at the same time. Outside the courthouse, people filtered out some whispering, some filming on their phones because nothing spreads faster than the fall of a neighborhood tyrant. And Sarah leaned her head on my shoulder, whispering, "We did it," like she hadn't been the backbone of this whole thing the entire time. I looked around at the street, the courthouse steps, the sky that suddenly felt wider, and I just breathed because breathing had felt optional for weeks. And life slowly, beautifully settled. We threw the housewarming party we should have had months earlier. Kids splashed in the brand new inflatable pool like tiny chaos monsters. Mark manned the grill like he was auditioning for a cooking show called Barely Controlled Flames. Greg brought his jalapeno cornbread that tastes better than it sounds. Sarah hung lantern lights along the fence, and neighbors trickled in. Some with cookies, some with gratitude, some with the quiet relief of people who finally realize they aren't alone. One woman hugged me and whispered, "Thank you for not backing down. You gave us our street back." And I didn't know what to say because I didn't feel like a hero. I felt like a tired dad who just wanted to hang a porch swing without needing legal counsel. Kids laughed, grills smoked, music drifted out the windows, and for the first time since we pulled into this driveway, this place truly felt like ours. Not borrowed peace, not temporary hope. Hours later, when the sun dipped behind the trees and the cicadas started their evening choir, I sat on that porch's wing next to Sarah, the kids asleep upstairs, the string lights warm and soft overhead, and she nudged Miss Holder. "You think it's over?" she asked. I looked out across the yard into a quiet night and let the question settle in my bones. "Yeah," I said after a moment. "I think we earned our peace." She smiled, leaned her head against me, and I swear the house itself seemed to exhale like it had been waiting just as long as we had. Sometimes people ask me if I regret it, if I wish we just paid or moved, or ignored it to keep life simple. And I always laugh, soft but real, because simple doesn't mean safe, and peace without standing your ground isn't peace. It's surrender dressed up as comfort. This house isn't just wooden drywall and a mortgage. It's proof that you can push back. Proof that bullies don't win when you carry truth like armor. Proof that home isn't something someone grants you permission to have. Home is something you defend. Oh yeah. We fought and we bruised a little and we learned a hell of a lot about bylaws and fraud statutes and where to mount security cameras. But in the end, we got exactly what we came here for. Not just a house, a life. Our life. And if you've ever dealt with an HOA that thought they were the Supreme Court of suburbia, or if you're fighting one right now, or if you just moved somewhere without an HOA and you feel like you dodged a missile, tell me below. Tell everyone because these stories matter. And believe me, you are not alone. Drop your experience in the comments. Tell me if we were right or wrong to fight. And hey, if you know a Karen in your neighborhood, tag them so they learn the law before they learn the hard way. Thanks for listening. And if you ever move into a new place and a pastel suit soldier knocks on your door asking for 10 grand, smile, close the door gently, and make sure your cameras are rolling. What would you have done? And has your HOA ever tried something wild? Tell me below. Let's hear your stories.